Hello everyone, welcome to another Oilers TV live presentation. Tom Gazzola alongside Jack Michaels inside the Hotel McDonald. Here we are once again, Jack, for another big announcement.
Monthly visit.
The monthly visit. We used to make the promise that we'll see you in Buffalo, but we keep having to make changes to the schedule. Today the Oilers expected to announce the 14th coach in team history, and it's a doozy.
Well, I mean, look, there's two big names out there. One is Mike Babcock, and the second will be Edmonton's choice today, and that's Todd McLellan, who worked for Mike Babcock and helped guide Detroit to a Stanley Cup championship in 2008. For the last 7 years, he has been nothing but a winner for San Jose. This was the first year at any level of coaching they didn't make the postseason with the Sharks. They mutually agreed to part ways, and much as Bob Nicholson did when Peter Chiarelli became available, you can bet Peter Chiarelli, once Todd McLellan officially became available, moved swiftly to wrap up a guy who's the second fastest in the history of the league to hit 300 wins. Tom, 3 division titles, a President's Trophy. He did everything but win a Stanley Cup with San Jose. He'll be entrusted with a different type of task this time around with the Edmonton Oilers, in the sense, Tom, that he's not taking over a proven winner. He's got to turn the Oilers in to proven winners and annual contenders as he had in San Jose.
311 wins as a head coach in the NHL. The last one, of course, coming against
the Oilers as it turned out, yes.
April 9th.
Yeah.
Laurent Brossoit was standing on his head that night. Is it? I mean, you bring up the speed at which Peter Chiarelli worked here. Is it somewhat surprising how quickly and swiftly he took action with his next head coach?
Not really, because as you put it, I mean, in old-fashioned terms with doozy, but I mean, yeah. Todd McLellan is a quality candidate. I mean, look, I think Edmonton, my suspicion would be Edmonton decided early on they didn't want to enter into this courtship process,
right,
which is going on. It's a bit of a circus with Mike Babcock right now. They like Todd McLellan, they knew Todd McLellan, and he's a proven winner with an unreal resume. I mean, Todd McLellan is one of those coaches, Tom, I think it was Rex Ryan who made the phrase famous, "I'll be out of work 5 minutes." And that's what universally everyone in the NHL said when Todd McLellan and the San Jose Sharks decided to kind of mutually end their relationship. He was going to be out of work 5 minutes. It's a phrase which obviously is an exaggeration, but Todd McLellan was going to get another NHL head coaching job. He is on the short list of the best this game has to offer in terms of coaching, and he's coming off a gold medal winning performance where Canada was every bit as dominant as the Olympic team and winning the World Championships. And oh, by the way, who was he coaching? He was
Taylor
coaching,
Hall.
yeah,
Jordan Eberle.
Right. And now they're in the mindset, along with Todd McLellan, of winning something. Their last games going into next season won't be playing out the string. They'll be winning a gold medal over in Prague with their new head coach, Todd McLellan. So not only have the players and the coach experienced winning, but they've experienced winning together.
We've watched him coach against the Oilers since you and I have joined the broadcast team here in Edmonton. So the last 5 seasons, obviously, they've had some extremely strong teams. But what are some of the things, some of his qualities that he brings to the forefront with his teams, and some of the intangibles that guys really like as players?
Devastating power play. I mean, he was the architect of that Detroit power play, who was number 1 in the league in 2006 when they were upset by the Oilers in the first round, and they were number 3 in the league when the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup in 2008. And as you know, the last few years in San Jose, granted, he's had some good resources with which to work, but San Jose's power play has been deadly, and he loves having guys who can play down the middle, who can be versatile. And in his top 6 over the last several years, he's had at least 4 guys who can not only take draws consistently, but win them consistently.
Okay, so Tom McLellan heading up to the podium along with Peter Chiarelli. We'll throw it up to the podium for the announcement right now.
Are you guys good? Gene?
Good. Sergey was up for the Player of the Year.
You guys good?
The CHL. Remember Sergey?
Yeah.
And Michael Roosevelt was
All right, great.
top defenseman in the West.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming to today's announcement. My name's JJ Bear. I'm the Director of Communications with the Edmonton Oilers Hockey Club. We've got some very exciting news here. It's been great times here in Edmonton over the last number of weeks with the announcement of Bob Nicholson, Peter Chiarelli. Obviously, the arena district is booming, as you see when you come downtown, and today's news as well. So the format for today is going to be similar to what we did a couple weeks ago. We're going to have some formal comments from both Peter Chiarelli and Todd McLellan, followed by a question and answer from yourselves from the floor. So please put your hand up and indicate that you'd like to ask a question, and I'll put you guys into the queue for sure. I'll try not to forget anybody. Once we do the question and answer, we'll move the table. We'll do a quick photo op for all the cameras here with Todd and Peter, and we'll break into some scrums, followed by some rights holder one-on-ones. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to the President of Hockey Operations and General Manager Peter Chiarelli.
Thanks, JJ. I'd like to announce on behalf of the Edmonton Oilers today the signing of Todd McLellan as our new head coach. Todd brings with him a wealth of experience, a level of energy and intellect that I haven't seen in a long time. He's been a coach for a number of years, most recently a couple of days ago where he won the gold medal with Team Canada over in Prague. I had a chance to meet with him over there and talk at length on a number of different levels, and very impressed with him, meeting him face to face. I had been very impressed with his teams over the years in the NHL with Detroit and with San Jose. We talked a couple weeks ago at my press conference about different ways of playing hard rather than just trying to switch out a whole team's roster. And both those teams in Detroit and San Jose, you look at them and how they play and the personnel, and they know how to play hard. and Todd's one of the main reasons for that, and instilling a level of confidence, energy, and discipline into these players. So very happy to introduce Todd as the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers.
Guess it's my turn. Thanks, Peter. On behalf of myself and my family, my wife Debbie and my two boys, Tyson and Cale, I'd like to thank Daryl Cates and his family for allowing me and us the opportunity to become part of the Oilers family, to become part of the Oilers community here in Edmonton. And we're very, very excited about it. Bob Nicholson, Peter Chiarelli, Kevin Lowe, the remainder of the staff have all played an important part in my decision to join the hockey club. I was looking for an opportunity to be involved with very good people that have a passion and an energy level that was very high, and I think that I've discovered that this group has that. The desire to work towards success was very evident when I met with each of them, and that's something that I was looking forward to with a new hockey club. And you know, the players then came into play, and having spent time with Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle over the past 2 weeks, two great young men that have a skill set and a hockey sense that any team would love to have. There's obviously many other assets in the organization and within the team that are very enticing and exciting to be around. And I look forward to meeting that group and working with that group moving forward. So thank you to everybody for allowing me the opportunity, and I look forward to it.
Great, thanks very much, gentlemen. At this time, we're going to take questions from the floor. Again, if you can please just raise your hand, and once I acknowledge you, go ahead. Ryan? Right behind you, just hang on.
Maybe just a question for both of you, Todd. There were a lot of teams out there that needed head coaches in this offseason, but it seems like the focus has been with Edmonton almost from the start. Can you maybe just discuss why it was an immediate good fit for you? And Peter, same question to you. A lot of coaches out there, Mike Babcock among them. Speculation was that you guys might be looking into that as well. Why was it Todd right from the start?
I'll start, Todd. The reason why Todd was the top candidate in my mind was a couple of things that I had mentioned about in my opening comments. I really, watching his teams over the years, like he's taken team, at least just from a San Jose perspective, he's taken team with a number of young players and have taken to a level that where, although it's short of a cup, that close to a cup on a number of occasions. And I've seen what he's done with those players. Talking about those types of skilled players that learn how to play hard, I think he's done a good job at doing that. you know, his level of energy and his level of thinking really impressed me. And if you look at him behind the bench, he's active. I think he's a terrific bench manager. A lot of reasons. You get, in my time in Boston, we didn't play the Sharks a lot, but whenever we played them, they were hard games. They were games where adjustments were being made all the time. They were heavy on the puck, and he really looked like he enjoyed coaching. So a number of those reasons helped me make my decision in choosing Todd.
And for me, Ryan, first of all, condolences to your family. I know you're supposed to be overseas and you didn't make it, so we were thinking of you and your family. But for me, again, I think I addressed it somewhat. There are tremendous owners, there's tremendous organizations in the National Hockey League that are full of talent and people that want to win. And that's what I was looking for. But once I settled in and met with the people in this organization, in the Oilers organization or family that are making decisions moving forward, I felt very comfortable with it. I'm a Western Canada boy. My wife's from Western Canada. I enjoy the Western Conference. It's not a job of convenience, don't get me wrong there, but it fit for for what I want to look for in the future as a coach. Young players that are craving to win, finding ways to win. You know, and again, having spent some time with Jordan and Taylor, I think it was evident that I think we would have you know, some good days ahead of us. They won't all be great. It's very easy when you're winning 10 or 11 games in a row overseas to be comfortable. There will be painful days ahead for all of us. We know that. But for me, your gut tells you when it's right, and the people. And that convinced me that this was the right spot for myself and my family.
Jason and Bryn.
Todd, Jason Greger from TSN 1260. In San Jose, you had some real all-star veterans, but you brought along guys like Couture and Vlasic and Pavelski and many others, become them your next guys. Here, there's not a lot of that leadership core yet. Taylor and Jordan, you know, the two longest-standing Oilers. How do you bring along the young guys with veterans? Do you think it's necessary to have some veterans insulating the young guys as they learn how to win?
I think there's veterans in this organization right now. You know, Matty Hendricks and Boyd Gordon, those type of players, Ferentz. The important thing in that situation is to blend that. You can't have separation of older players that have many warrior wounds on them and the young guys that are coming along without those wounds and everybody going their own direction. You have to blend them, and everybody's important in an organization. You can have the grizzled veteran, if you will, for lack of a better term, that maybe his game is more of on a decline than an incline, but you can have the young superstar coming up. They have to find ways to intermingle and to mesh so that their assets come out on a daily basis. And you know, I don't know the group well enough yet to say that exists. I think there's work to do there. But you have to create the right environment, the right foundation to bring that out on a daily basis. And the game is the reward for the players to play. That's the easy part. It's everything that goes into it. It's the practice time, it's the road time, it's the commitment level away from the rink, at the rink, where they have to mesh. And you know, I've talked in the past about leadership. You know, who's more important, the leader or the followers? They all have to work together. And you know, as time goes on here, we'll figure out the group, and inevitably somebody will step to the front and make sure that's the right guy.
Bryn and then Terry.
Hi, Todd. Bryn Griffiths from K97. Taking a look at your numbers through your career in San Jose on the power play, sensational except for 1 year. But why were you so successful with your power play there, and how can you bring that skill set to a young group like this one?
Well, you know, as a coach, I believe that most of us are wired to show the players how. This is how we're doing things, and I don't think we take the time to get them to understand why. And for us, our power play did certain things. We taught them how, but we tried to get them to accept why we were doing it, what the results were for doing certain things. And we'll try and bring that here to Edmonton. They've had tremendous pieces on the power play. You obviously saw it improve as the year went on here. Some very gifted players that can play in those situations, but there's some principles that that have to be in place for power plays to be successful, and often those are the hardest things to get finalized. Once those are in place and players believe that they can have a chance at success with it, then their skill set comes out. So, we hope to transform that and bring it here. But there are no guarantees. We're starting from scratch. We've got a lot of work ahead of us in all areas of the game, not just the power play.
Terry, welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome back
Jonesy.
yourself.
You look way better than I do for a long flight.
Yeah, you had a private plane.
Okay. They didn't fly you back privately?
No,
We got to talk to your boss.
we do. Peter, to start with, Todd at about a week and a bit ago made the statement that when you found your wife, you don't need to make a whole lot of dates after that. And it was about 2 days after you left town in Prague. Can you describe it from your end on this marriage? And Todd, could you kind of go through the timeline of when you knew and how you knew and how many other conversations you might have had after the fact?
It happened fairly quickly as far as trying to set something up, and we wanted to get ahead of it with Todd. So I went over to Prague and we spent 3 or 4 hours on a number of different things. And I had a fairly exhaustive checklist to go through with him, and he had a lot of questions for me. And felt it was a better time in the tournament earlier on. Competition, the pace, the daily schedule grind wasn't quite up to speed yet, so it was a good time to do it. I knew there'd be a lot of teams that wanted to talk to Todd, so I wanted kind of to be first in to let him digest it and get to know me and what we're about here and what we're trying to do here. So timing and opportunity was good, and the fact that he had some time was good too. And just wanted to. He's the guy that we wanted, and I wanted to get on it in a hurry. I was trying to stay away from the marriage metaphor, but
Yeah.
we can talk about that later if you want. But
Yeah, it's probably not a good analogy, but that's the best way for me to describe it, really, when it came down to it. Like I said earlier, there's a number of tremendous opportunities that exist in the National Hockey League right now, and there's a great coaching pool out there. But after meeting with Peter and asking him, we asked each other some pretty direct questions. And, I liked the answer and the direction that Peter was taking the conversation, and obviously Peter liked my end of it. So we took it from there. One of the interesting scenarios about this situation is a lot of times when you're a coach and you're going to join a team, the manager's been in place for a number of years and he has an idea of the organization. We're both in it together here, brand new. And I think that's a good thing right now. We get to leave our mark and get to formulate an identity and work towards that together without any preconceived notions notions of individuals or partners on the D or lines or anything like that. It's brand new. Everybody gets a fresh start, and we'll go from there.
Adam and then Gene.
Todd, Adam Cook from CTV. I just wonder, you've had a lot going on here in the last few days, but I wonder if you've allowed yourself to start even thinking about potentially coaching a kid like Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I have had a chance to think that, quite regularly. Putting my head down on the pillow in Prague allowed me a lot of thinking time, especially when your sleep patterns are off. You spend more time awake than sleeping, and we've thought it through a lot. I have never had the opportunity to see Connor play live. Obviously, have had a chance to see him play video-wise, on TV and that type of stuff. But this is a special player. He has a special skill set that fans are going to enjoy for a long time. But he's still a young man. He's learned how to deal with an immense amount of tension and pressure. But that's at the junior level. It's going to change when he gets to the National Hockey League, and it's our job to make sure that we get the most out of him in a real good environment. Not in a protecting environment, because he's got to learn how to deal with that, but making sure that he comfortable in his surroundings, taken care of away from the rink. One of the things that I did when I was in Prague was spend some time with Sydney and ask him what it was like as a young 18-year-old coming up that way, and some of the hardships he may have had or didn't have, some of the things that he appreciated, teammates or the organization that some of the things they did for him that allowed him to blossom. It's tough to be that player in this world, especially in the Canadian market. But Connor will be fine. He'll get what he needs from the Oilers organization, the coaching staff, and his teammates. And he is just one piece on the team. It's going to be about the whole, not individuals, and that's how we're going to approach it.
Gene and Min.
Gene Principe with Sportsnet. Peter and Todd. Todd, congratulations. Peter, when you first got in and started to look at the many things you wanted to accomplish, could you discuss just the importance of coaching stability for the Oilers? And Todd, especially with your longevity in San Jose, just what it takes to have that type of longevity sometimes with one franchise or one team?
Well, by no means is there a perfect amount of time for a coach. I think from the consistent messaging viewpoint, that's important in delivering your message, and from a coaching perspective, he's the main messenger, and I think to have it over time with more or less the same group, I think you'll see that reaps tremendous rewards. Having said all that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in between, not just having a stable coach for a certain number of years. Like, you have to work well together, you have to have a plan, and it has to be laid out and executed. And but Todd's one of the top coaches in the league, and we're fortunate to have him here. And something that goes unmentioned so far is that his work ethic, what I've seen, is tremendous, and we're going to see that. We're going to see that very soon.
And from my perspective, Gene, a couple things. I think that you break the game down into relationships as a coach and tactics. And you have to be able to contribute in both areas so that the players have success. And as far as relationship building, you've got to create a trusting environment, an environment where the players know you can help them and are willing to help them, but also hold them accountable the right way. I do think that today's player and athlete overall, regardless of what sport it is changing. I have a 19-year-old that plays in the USHL, and just to see him interact with his teammates through technology, through their support systems is dramatically different than what athletes were going through 10 years ago. So we have to understand that as a staff. We're not changing it. We have to accept it and work with it. So there's a challenge there. The tactical part of it is very important. You have to evolve, you have to change, you have to figure out where the game is going, or you're left behind. And that's even as a fan, they want to see you change with the game as well. They want to be excited at a game. They want to they appreciate hard work, but they want to see goals. They want to see nice plays. And tactically, we have to keep up with the times, or we'll fall behind.
Min and Derek.
Min Darrow with CBC. Todd, when you looked at the NHL landscape and just all the options that might have been out there for you, were there any red flags that came up when you looked at Edmonton with, specifically just the kind of the coaching carousel that has happened here, and what was, was anything assured to you as far as with the new regime that that's in the past and you kind of?
Well, I didn't have to. The past is the past. No one's changing it. Neither of the gentlemen that are up here were involved in the past. I look at Peter's past, if you will, and Claude Julien's one of my best friends. We've been together for many years ago we were together at a World Junior Championship. We've created a friendship and kept it. And if you're going to find anything out about working with an individual, you go to the guy that's worked with them. And Claude's worked there. He couldn't wait to tell me all the good things about Peter. And I knew that from other people around the league. So, Claude's still working in Boston, and he's not working because somebody didn't want to fire him. He's working because he's a good coach, and he does a really good job, and they found ways to win. And Peter recognized that, appreciated it. The organization appreciated it, and they've kept him going for that amount of time. My responsibility is to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to live up to ownership and management's expectations. I can't do more than that. If I do less than that, then I'll pay the price for it. But I'm going to do everything that I can, have the right staff in place to do that. And I feel that the people around me will give me that support. That's why I'm here.
Derek and then Mark.
Hey guys, Derek Van Diest, Edmonton Sun. Hey Todd. Just wanted to ask you about the rest of the coaching staff. Are you going to bring in your own coaches, or how do the coaches that were already on the staff fit in there? And particularly Todd Nelson, is he out, or where do you go with the coaching staff?
Well, I have, right now I've spent 3.5 weeks in Prague. About 5 days before that, I was released in San Jose. So I would be lying if I sat here and said, listen, I've had a chance to sit down with Todd Nelson or anybody else on the existing coaching staff. And what I plan on doing with Peter's support is to take time to make sure that as we build a staff, because it's not one man, it's a group, that we do it properly, that we cover and get the pieces that we need. Do we have to go outside? I don't know the answers to that yet. Todd Nelson and I, him as an individual, we can talk about him, have a very good relationship. Known him for many years from Saskatchewan. I'd be happy to sit down and talk to him, but even Todd might have some different desires himself. He may want to be a head coach in the National League, and he's very talented and can be that. So we have to discuss with each of the individuals what they think they might need and see where everybody fits. And I know by the time training camp arrives, we'll have a very solid staff that will be ready to work.
I'm going to take 2 more questions from the floor. Mark Connolly and then John.
Todd, Mark Connolly with CBC Radio over here.
Okay,
right
somewhere over there. Okay, sorry.
Obviously, you had a lot of great success in San Jose on a team that had a lot of expectations. Those expectations maybe fell short a little bit in the playoffs. What do you take forward out of that experience when, often people say you learn more from failure than you do from success. So when you go into this job, what do you think you learned from those failures in the playoffs?
Well, we're not going to talk about playoffs here. We're going to talk about foundation. We're going to talk about creating an identity and building towards it. The playoff part of it exists after you accomplish those regular season things, and we've got work to do there, first of all. As far as San Jose goes, we had a lot of successes in the playoffs, in my opinion. We ended up, losing to some very good teams, Chicago, Los Angeles, teams that went on to win the Stanley Cup, and sometimes you get beat by a better team. It's as simple as that. Maybe you're not at the top of your game. Maybe you're short in some areas, whether it's skill, strength, toughness. But that's what the playoffs are about. You play, you find out what went right, what went wrong. As an organization, you evaluate it and you try and go out and fix it the next year. And we were close. We had really good teams. They still have a tremendous team there. They've got tremendous athletes in that locker room. They'll be a force to be reckoned with, but it was just time for the players and for the coach to refresh, I guess is the best word.
Thank you. One more, John McKinnon.
John McKinnon from the Edmonton Journal. You acknowledge that there'd be painful days ahead, and the fan base here is surfing on 9 years of pain.
Yep.
Can you quantify that a little bit? I realize I can't, you're going to nail it down to points or position the stand. Can you give me a sense of where this goes?
Well, it's going to go up. That's what the plan is. It's to take it up. It's to take the organization and begin to climb the mountain. And we have to chart our path to begin with. We have to determine what we want to be and how we want to look. We have to find the players within the organization right now, not going outside, but within the organization, and put them in the right spots. With all of that, there's pain. There's nights where we're not going to be pleased. But there's 4 teams that are playing right now that just experienced that throughout the year too. They have painful nights. They just have fewer of them. And that's what we're trying to do, is take those painful nights and diminish them throughout the years to the point where we can be at the top of the mountain. But, to come in and say, hey, we're winning a Stanley Cup next year, that's not the case. There's some auxiliary pieces, and what I mean by auxiliary is not on the ice surface that have been added. Bob's obviously been named, to oversee everything. Peter, myself, it's an exciting time for all of us, but the product on the ice, the team on the ice, the wins and losses still drive the organization. That's how it is in any team. And we have to make sure that product and those players are driving it upwards. There will be hills and valleys, but over time it has to keep going upwards.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Todd. Before we wrap up and conclude the formal part here, I just want to thank some special guests who are here with us today. Mr. Barry Cates, thank you for being here today for this special announcement, as well as Oilers Entertainment Management Group, Bob Nicholson, Kevin Lowe, Bob Black, and Stu McDonald. Thanks for being here today, guys. And Todd's family, Debbie and Trent, really important that you guys are here today, so thanks so much for joining us. At this time, we're going to move the table and have a photo op with Peter and Todd, and then we'll break into individual scrums and one-on-ones. Once again, thanks for coming today, everybody. Appreciate your cooperation.
Too much going on here to get back over. Yeah, I understand.
So Todd, how much did this particular number one pick play in your decision?
Well, it was something everybody was watching. If you were a coach out of work and and was considering a position to attain or to land in, everybody had an eyeball on where Connor was going to end up, of course. But he wasn't the only factor that came into play. There's so many other things that one has to consider, and I only get to make 50% of the decision. The other part was made by the Oilers organization, and the way it turned out, I'm really excited about it. But today will probably be our easiest day. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and we're all looking forward to that.
So there's a large number of teams that are looking for coaches, and I mean, I think the sense was, had you waited, there might have been multiple offers, multiple opportunities coming your way, but you got this done pretty quick. Why?
I'm happy here. I didn't need to go to other places. It wasn't about money or anything like that. It was about opportunity and family for me. I'm comfortable in Edmonton, family-wise. My wife has family here. I have family here. I'm a Western Canada guy. I feel good about being here. After all those years in California, I think I still like the snow a little bit, so that'll have to come into play. But it felt right. Your gut tells you sometimes that you're doing the right thing, and my gut was telling me that.
Todd, the last few days, just the last few days, winning goal, getting this job, I mean, what's it been like?
It's been a little overwhelming, to tell you the truth. The gold medal experience was phenomenal. To see a group of players buy in to what we were trying to do over there, to put their egos aside. We talked a lot about the whole being more important than the parts and getting better every day, and that theme has to take place here in Edmonton as well. And if that group over there can do that, there's no reason why anybody else can't. It may take a little longer. We may not have all the right pieces, but what we do have, we have to make better here. The experience of the World Championships was incredible. It's not something you want to make a habit of course, because that means you're not playing over here in the tournament. But I'm a little worn out, to tell you the truth. I'm looking forward to a couple of quiet days.
Todd, I was just going to ask you, how much of a benefit do you think it is having been able to coach two of the main guys from this team and having them go through a winning process like they did over in Prague, and now you guys match up here now together?
Well, I think it helped me. I got to understand them a little bit more and figure out their personalities, and I'm sure that's twofold. They'll be able to give you those answers as well. But It's a different game there. It's a tournament format. It's a short-term event. There's a lot of positive feedback, not a lot of grind time by coaching staff. So we were successful together there, and now moving forward, this is long-term. This is every day. This is not picking and choosing when you want to do it right. It's doing it right all the time. That goes, through the coach and all the players, not just Jordan and Taylor. But I enjoyed my time with them. Great young men. I do believe that they want to do things right and they want to find a way to win, and that's a positive thing for the organization.
Todd, I remember last year, Dallas was talking about the fact that his kids were getting bullied at school. This is a huge hockey city where people take this stuff seriously. So what's your message to the fans?
Well, this is a Canadian city. Passionate fans all over the place. The bullying part in school, if that's happening, that's sad because it's a community thing, and players are pretty honest. They want to go out and win, but I know what I'm getting into, and I'm excited about it. I welcome the challenge. I want to be here in Edmonton, and I grew up in Canada. I grew up when the Oilers were having great days. I grew up and watched the Flames win a cup. I know how intense the media, the community can be, but it's a challenge that I'm willing to accept, and I'm excited about it.
What were your feelings when you coached against the Oilers? What did you think about the Oilers team?
Well, they scared you. They scared you because they could beat you 7-2 on any given night, and there's other nights where maybe you had your way, and that's the consistency that we'll try and fix here. I think there were games where if you could get off to a good start and push them out of the games and get to the mental aspect of them maybe not being in it for the whole night, you thought you had a chance to succeed, and that's something we'll have to change. There's going to be games where it's not going your way, but you're not out of it. You got to fight through it, and you got to keep going. And they haven't had a lot of success as far as wins and losses go. So you have to find other ways to build that mental strength. And again, that comes before the games are even played. That comes in practice. That comes in meetings. That comes in being good teammates. So we have some things to work on.
Do you think they're too
It's
small? Against the teams that were.
Well, you have to. What we do in our game right now is we throw out catchwords like toughness and character and discipline, and they're used all the time, and hardness, and we don't define them anymore for the players. They don't know what it means, and so Jordan Eberle's ability to affect the game with toughness is a little bit different than Matt Hendricks. Yet he has to find a way to bring his toughness to the rink night in and night out. So size, I don't know how important it is. The commitment level to use your size is essential.
How do you get that out of these players from so many coaches before you have tried and failed? They all recognize the same thing and they haven't been able to get it out of them.
No, well, that'll be, I'll throw my approach at them. I'll deal with them in certain ways. We'll try and help them. We'll try and expose them to techniques that may promote success in certain areas, corners, hard areas, that type of stuff. And again, the how part's one thing, the why part's the most important. And if they understand why they're doing things and why they have to sacrifice, what the rewards are, they'll often get it done.
We'll do one more here, guys.
Everyone talks about puck possessions, like the new term. Everybody wants to have the puck. How do you go about finding a team that can not only maintain the puck, but is good at going to get it when they don't have it?
Well, for me, that is puck possession. You have to give up the puck. There's no way, shape, or form of playing hockey without giving up the puck and going to get it. Placing it in the right spot, arriving on time, winning the battle in that situation is puck possession, in my opinion. I think with the analytics and the trend that we're going through right now, there's mass confusion on what possession really is. And you can walk into the Oilers locker room, you can walk into San Jose's locker room and ask the players what the definition is, and you get 20 different answers. And they play the game. They're the athletes that are involved. So that's part of our job, is to clearly define what possession is, to define what toughness is, to define what hardness is, and then go from there.
Okay, thank you guys.
Good,
Peter will be
okay.
up here shortly.
We hope that he will be part of our organization.
We're going to go do a
Yeah.
You got to come up with an analytics.
I'm good. Thanks.
The perception was that everybody would be after Mike Babcock, but obviously you had already gone down the road with Todd and you weren't interested.
Well, I got to know Mike a little bit at the Olympics and a World Championship before that, and I think he's a really impressive coach and an impressive person. And I talked to Kenny Holland about him. I think in my Todd was at the top of my list for a number of reasons, and that doesn't mean that Mike's not a great coach. I thought the fit was right with our personnel. I thought the fit was right with the way I manage, and in this business, it's like when you want to get a top coach, you have to act quickly, and it's almost like a free agent in for players. It's like if you're not in there first, then you're probably not going to get that guy. So I made it an effort that he's a guy that we had to go after hard.
There's some advantages to like Todd mentioned and kind of alluded to it, that you're both kind of coming in fresh and you're both starting new here with this organization. Are there advantages?
Yeah, I mean, as far as leaving your imprint on it, as far as exchanging ideas, which may not be new to you, but they're new to the organization. So we both have a set of new ideas, new philosophies. There's a freshness about it that kind of reinvigorates things, and myself included. Like it's not just this is the way things are done. But there are a lot of good foundation blocks here, which is one of the reasons why I chose to work here, and it's one of the reasons Todd chose to work here. But yeah, definitely there's that certainly makes it more of an opportunity.
Will Todd have free reign to hire his entire coaching staff?
I want Todd to be comfortable with his coaching staff. It'll be a collaborative thing, but at the end of the day, he has to be comfortable with it.
Is the bonus out of all of this the fact that Taylor and Jordan thrived under Todd over in Europe? And I mean, I know it's a small window for the tournament, but still, it's
nice to see. I mean, and you're right, it's a bonus. But I mean, what I've seen of Todd over the last 7, 8, 9 years is really the reason why we hired him.
What's the compensation to San Jose for bringing in this fine
There will be compensation. I have had discussions with Doug, and we'll have some more discussions to figure that out.
When did Connor McDavid's name come up first when you were discussing it?
With Todd? We really didn't discuss it much other than we have a chance to get a really good young player. Really, like, truthfully, it wasn't really, he's going to be a heck of a player, and that's a bonus too.
At your original press conference, you said you liked that the Oilers played fast, but you'd like them to play a little bit harder. Did Todd mirror that philosophy with you? He's coached against them more than you probably saw them even in Boston. And how many changes do you think you guys will have to make to get that and make that happen?
Well, as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to completely flip out your roster. I mean, it's about philosophically how you play, and if you remember what I said, it was like we played fast here. You want them to play harder. There are different ways to play hard, not just meaning you're going to bang bodies, whether that's being in the right position, whether that's knowing how to strip a puck, whether that's knowing how to protect a puck. All that has to be drilled into your mind, and it has to be repetitions. And if you look at where Todd coached before San Jose, it was Detroit, and they've never been characterized, even now, as a hard team, but they're hard to play against. Like, those guys are the best puck strippers. They protect pucks. And he did that with San Jose too. So that's the type of stuff you want to instill on this team.
Did you have discussions with Todd Nelson, and would you like him to?
All right, we're back with a special guest. He is the CEO of Oilers Entertainment Group, Bob Nicholson, fresh off a flight from Prague. Welcome back, Bob, and you guys keep making news. How important and exciting is this announcement today?
It was huge, and Peter Chiarelli, as soon as he was hired as the general manager, we had some discussions, and Todd was the person that he wanted, and we just saw what happened in the last week here, leading Canada to a gold medal, but what he's done in Detroit and San Jose, I think he's a real good fit for our team right now.
Bob, are there some parallels that can be drawn in terms of how quickly you acted to bring in Peter Chiarelli into this organization, and then in turn, once he was in the organization, he might have said to you, I want to bring Todd McLellan into this organization?
Yeah, you know what? I stated as soon as I was hired that we do have a plan. We're not going to put timelines on any of that, but we're going to move quickly. As soon as we're comfortable with where we want to go, we're going to get there as quick as we can. And I think the Oiler fans are going to be pleased where we'll get to on some other decisions, whether it be hockey or business, and communications. Every part of the organization, we're going to try to improve here.
Bob, as just a guy, the coaching aspect aside, just as a guy, what kind of guy is Todd McLellan as a person, and why is that good for this organization?
Well, he's a coach. He loves coaching. You just have to watch him on the bench. He's really active with his players, and I think he's really clear. He's a great communicator. He clearly has a plan. He delivers that plan, and then really makes the players accountable. And when talk to all the players over there, whether it was Sidney Crosby or Burns, and Jordan and Taylor, they really like this guy. He was clear on the messages he was giving, and I think he's going to do that job right here with the Oilers.
Just had a chance to talk with Peter Chiarelli, Bob, and one of the things he said is he had no real personal relationship with Todd McLellan before this process started. But he said one of the things he had noticed from a distance over the years is how poised and effective Todd was in delivering his message, not just to players, but to the outside world, the media, from a distance. What were your thoughts in terms of once you were in front of Todd and talking with Peter about this process, where he fit into that mix from that perspective?
Yeah, I totally agree with Peter. And I got to know Todd way back in the program of excellence, and I've just seen him grow as a coach. But you saw it today at the press conference. He was relaxed, and he gave a very clear message to the media and to the fans, all the Oilers fans. And he'll continue to do that. And that's so important for us right now. We have a group of players that have to grow, and he's going to be a big part of making that happen.
Did you talk to him at all when you guys were in Prague? I know he was busy coaching and you had double IHF duties, but did you have a chance to sit down with him as well and maybe chat a bit?
Yeah, we did. We just got caught up. I talked to him a bit before he left, just how to handle the Canadian situation. So, it was a great conversation over there, and he was really excited about coming on board. And, it starts with Daryl Cates. He asked a lot of questions. One day over there, we got Daryl on the phone, and that was important to Todd and his family, who the ownership was and how the group's going to work.
Bob, one of the things that always struck me when you were in charge of Hockey Canada is you master the art of gathering the best available resources and then empowering those people to do their jobs moving forward. Is it similar to kind of what you're thinking about in terms of the hockey operations department now? You've brought Peter Chiarelli in. He in turn has brought Todd McLellan in. Is it now about empowering them to do what they've done so well for a number of years?
Yeah, you know what? I think it has to be very clear what the job description and what the roles are. And Peter thinks along those same lines. And then, how everyone reports, and you got to have a team approach. And, there's going to be overlap between hockey and business and all of those things, but you got to make sure who's leading each of those areas, and we're getting that done now. It's going to take us some time to make sure we get that clarity, but we'll be ready for the beginning of the hockey season.
Bob, we appreciate you doing this. I know the body clock's probably readjusting to North American time. Thank you again, and we'll be back shortly to wrap things up with Jack. All right, well, we're back one more time to wrap things up. Another hectic day
for
in
now.
Edmonton. Yeah, for now. I mean, we made that joke over and over again. We'll see you next week probably. But, Jack, just some closing thoughts on the Oilers' new head coach. I mean, it wasn't really a secret in the last couple of weeks, but a lot of excitement. Obviously, the team still hasn't played a single game yet, but, people should be eager to see what's coming forward now.
No question, and now you look forward to how this will translate in terms of wins and losses. And I think one of the reasons the win-loss column has not been favorable to the Oilers over the years is there has been a relatively lack of stable process at the highest levels in terms of management, who's the head coach. And I think Bob Nicholson in the last month and a half has taken two major steps into achieving that stability, bringing in Peter Chiarelli as president and general manager of hockey operations, and then, of course, the appointment today of Todd McLellan as head coach. Prior to him agreeing to mutually part ways with the San Jose Sharks, Todd McLellan was the third longest tenured head coach in the NHL, behind only Mike Babcock and Claude Julien. And Peter Chiarelli had a long run in Boston after laying the foundation for an Ottawa Senators club that reached the Stanley Cup final in 2007. Of course, Chiarelli helped lead the Bruins to 2 Stanley Cup finals. So now, all of a sudden, you've got Chiarelli and McLellan, who've been nothing but models of stability over the course of their career. They've been bounced around a number of organizations, and they're now atop a hockey operations department that has been unstable over the last 5 or 6 years. So I think that and that alone should give Oiler fans tremendous reason for optimism that a major brick of the foundation has been laid.
Well, you speak of foundation, that's the exact same word Todd McLellan did use when he said what the plan is going forward. He said, we're not going to win a Stanley Cup this year. Foundation stability, like you said, but he's a calm guy.
Yeah.
that's another thing, too. He doesn't seem to get worked up. And off camera, Bob Nicholson mentioned that, too. How much will that help this group, which is still young, is starting to get some experience, but relatively, young, like I mentioned.
Sure.
But how much is that going to benefit these guys as they try to carve out a career and find some success?
Well, the biggest thing that Todd McLellan has to do is to train the players into the spirit of winning. And the good thing about the World Championships is he had two key Oilers,
of course,
the longest-serving Oilers, with him. And they got the feeling not only of winning, but of dominating the opposition and winning with their new head coach. And that's Jordan Eberle and Taylor Hall. So I think that's a step in the right direction. I also think Todd McLellan has just been through an extremely tumultuous year. The captaincy issue in San Jose.
Right.
The blow-up between Joe Thornton and Todd McClellan's boss at the time, Doug Wilson.
Right.
He had to navigate through all of that. So a 3-game losing streak in late November is not going to unsettle Todd McLellan. He acknowledges there will be painful days ahead for this team. What he aims to do, in his own words, is shrink those painful days. And I think, look, 2 key components of the Oilers' young core. One with Todd McLellan, they're going to be approaching the season from a very positive standpoint. Chiarelli, McLellan, I think the players, Matt Hendricks had a great World Championship,
Yes,
so
he did,
there's some key components in the Oilers dressing room whose last touch of hockey wasn't playing out the string. It was achieving big things at the World Championships. And I think moving forward, both on ice and off the ice, the Oilers have made tremendous strides in a positive direction over the last, what has it been now, 7 weeks?
That calmness and that savviness, how far will it go in this market where the scrutiny, because of how things have gone over the past 9 seasons, will be high, and that's to be expected?
You and I both know, Tom, I mean, when you're in a city like Edmonton, the Oilers are front and center for at least 7 months out of the year. And that's not when this stuff is going on. Then it becomes 9-10 months of the year. And with Connor McDavid this year, with the Combine and the draft, 2 things we'll be covering right here on Oilers TV, it's almost a 12-month season this year for the Edmonton Oilers.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to serve Todd McLellan exceptionally well. I think even this past season, the first year ever that he didn't make the playoffs, is going to serve him well because he had a lot of stuff to deal with on the ice and off the ice. So I think the little bumps comparatively that the Oilers might have along the way are nothing compared to kind of an explosive situation. It's not often you get maybe your best player and your boss not getting along.
Right.
That kind of drama is not going to exist with the Edmonton Oilers organization. And again, I think you got to give Bob Nicholson a tremendous amount of credit for moving quickly to acquire Chiarelli and then encouraging him to do the same in the search for the head coach. And now the Oilers have 2 real key components, in their foundation. Having said all that, I think we'd be remiss if we don't give Todd Nelson a word.
Absolutely. Todd Nelson came in here at a very tough time. He handled things quite well. There were some results. I mean, albeit there was some marginal results, but there were results, and we saw the positive play coming out of that team. And they beat some good teams.
Right.
The game that stands out in my mind is the LA game late in the season when the Kings surprisingly started Martin Jones. That was a game that, they got their butt whooped prior to that, and then they go out and hand the Kings, basically knock them out of the playoffs with a strong performance.
One of 3 teams.
With an AHL defense and Richard Bachman starting in goal. So, I mean, that was just one example of the good things Todd Nelson did, but he did do a lot of good for this organization in the past 5 seasons.
Yeah, one of 3 teams, really. I mean, you could make the argument that also Colorado and Dallas were officially put to rest.
That's right.
By wins by Edmonton down the stretch. So, having said all that, one thing we should touch on, obviously, Todd McLellan said there will be no further announcements in terms of a coaching staff today. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that Todd Nelson will be part of that staff. But again, I think both the last couple of months of the season and then the first couple of months of the offseason have been tremendous in terms of positive reinforcement for the Oilers organization moving forward.
Okay, so I'm going to go on a whim here and say see you in Buffalo.
That's right.
The first week of June for the NHL Scouting Combine for
Who
Jack
do you think
Michaels.
We'll be covering there?
I don't know. Some guy named Connor. For Jack Michaels, I'm Tom Gazzola. Thanks for tuning in to this Oilers TV live presentation.